brother.
You will not feel more stupid than me for forgetting somebody who was on my show.
Somebody who you flirted with and made such a great impression on you.
Everybody's so sweet, and sometimes I forget. All right, he did include another question. What did Jim think of the late Adrian Adonis? Did you two ever work a territory together? I always liked him and thought his work was outstanding, especially during the early 80s. Unfortunately, it seems like Adonis will, over time, slip through the cracks of professional wrestling history unless he becomes a prominent Hall of Fame inductee soon, which is a shame on so many different levels.
Well, yes, and as a matter of fact, I mean, the guy was one of the best workers in the business when he was never in shape, muscular, but he was a good-looking, brawny athlete type in his younger days, and he was a phenomenal fucking worker. And then, when he started gaining the weight, it was still amazing to see a guy shaped like that, obviously in that ridiculously bad physical condition, be able to move and bump and fly and do all that shit. And you knew it couldn't be good on his body. And then, but unfortunately, what everybody's going to remember is not the Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis North-South connection, but the fucking Adrian Adonis in the dress, grossly obese with the blonde hair, that last gimmick, adorable Adrian Adonis or whatever. And even then, he was a better worker than most people on the card, but he just looked so ridiculous. I'm afraid that's what they're going to remember, when in actuality, he as a talent was elite, in-ring performer and a pretty great promo before he just let his body get completely out of control.
I saw him recently.
And I never did, by the way, I never did know him. We never worked the same place together, but I was a fan of his from watching videos.
I saw him recently. I think I was watching WrestleMania 3. And I was trying to make sense of it when I have no context for things, and I'm just sitting there alone in the middle of the night watching wrestling, and I have no one to ask. It's one of those funny moments. I'm like, what am I watching? Who is this guy? And I looked him up, and I found out I think he was like 31 at the time, and I was stunned.
Yeah,
because he looked like he was well into his 40s, and it was. Some of that's the 80s. For some reason, when you look back in time, people looked a little older than they were, if that makes any sense.
Except me, I looked like a baby.
You did. You look very youthful, and still do.
But did you look back? Did you ever watch an Adrian Adonis match from the late 70s or something from South, say, San Antonio, or even the WWF stuff with him and Murdoch that was a little more serious?
That's the stuff I need to do.
Styles.
That's the next thing I need to do. This is where I've been starting with, because I've basically been going back and trying to watch all the WWF pay-per-views.